PUP are back with their third and highly anticipated new album, Morbid Stuff. PUP burst onto the scene in 2013 with their self-titled, and then proved that they were here to stay in 2016's The Dream Is Over. Both records are pretty much praised by everyone for being intense, rowdy, and angry. Everything you love about punk. For me, PUP have been an extremely consistent band. With every album I expect, a raw, angry punk record, but the buzz that I've seen around this album has been a little different. People saying, will this be the album that PUP breaks into the mainstream? Will this be album of the year? There's a lot of hype around this record. And, I guess since this is the third album, the third album for any band really is a big benchmark, in their career. Will they change their sound? Will they make it into the mainstream? Will they sell out? Whether it's right or wrong, a band's third album, or at least by a band's third album, most fans or, listeners have pretty much made up their mind. So, with all that said, let's get into Morbid Stuff. Side note, did anyone know that PUP's original name was Topanga from Boy Meets World? I had no idea, and while doing research, thank God Wikipedia, even has this screenshot from Tumblr when the band announced the switch from Topanga to PUP, and, as a lifelong Boy Meets World fan, I just thought that was pretty cool. Morbid Stuff doesn't waste any time starting. Track 1, Morbid Stuff, is a great song and is one of my favorite opening lyrics of any album ever. I was bored as F, sitting around and thinking all this morbid stuff, like if anyone I've slept with is dead and I got stuck on death and dying and abusive thoughts that won't let up. Whew, what else do you need? This song does everything that an opening track should, getting you ready and excited for what's to come, and honestly, Morbid Stuff is one of my favorite songs on the entire album. Next up is Kids, a song that the band performed on Late Night with Seth Meyers. That's a pretty big deal. This is probably going to be a lot of people's first introduction to PUP, and I'd say it's a pretty good choice. It's not my favorite song on the album, but it does have that signature style of PUP where it's, singing and talking, kind of weaves us through and gets us to the end of the song. Free at Last is another one of my favorites on the album. It's my favorite style of punk, a fast song that never really lets up. Also has one of my favorite sections of lyrics on the entire album. Motivation, it comes and goes, keeping expectations low. So when I let you down, I won't feel so bad. Sloppy Steffi back at it again, calling you at 5 a.m. Have you been drinking? Well, of course I have. And why the hell would I be here if I wasn't? Scorpion Hill starts off slow, then really picks up with a chorus that I think is, prime time punk rock sing-along time, and it's going to be a great song to be played, live and with the crowd and the band. It's going to be a beautiful thing to see with the chorus. Down and out, I've been on the rocks, I've been having some pretty dark thoughts. Yeah, I like them a lot. Closure is another song that I think is going to be a fan favorite, especially the part in the song, I Need Closure. I think that's going to be, perfect to sing along, back at the band at shows. It just begs to be sung along to. And I think Closure, this song here, is a sleeper on the album, kind of towards the middle / tail end there, sandwiched in between so many other, great tracks on the record. But don't sleep on Closure. It's a song that I've been coming back to ever since I listened to the album. Bloody Mary, Kate and Ashley, Sibling Rivalry, and See You at Your Funeral are nice additions to the album, kind of rounding it out. Not my favorite songs on the record, but solid rock songs. Full Blown Meltdown is a really heavy song, more of a hardcore song than anything. It really showcases that style of PUP with the, the talking and singing, kind of like the anthem. I've always imagined when, PUP goes to this more talking style, it's, the singer with a megaphone, in front of a large crowd giving this, great, a revolutionary speech is kind of the way that it's always been played in my head. If you ever wondered what a more hardcore, heavy-sounding PUP would sound like, Full Blown Meltdown is for you. Bare Hands is another song that I think some people will overlook. It's catchy and stayed with me. City ends the album, starting off as a slow song and then becoming a more aggressive, more punk rocky song, really. I kind of would have eliminated, in my opinion, the second half of City where it gets more punk rock. We've had so much, rock and punk from PUP on this punk record, I know. But I really like the first half of City more, and I kind of think that would have been a better way to, fade out the album with, kind of that slow, methodical end to the album after all the chaos we heard in, the previous, 10 or so tracks that we got. So, will Morbid Stuff catapult PUP into the mainstream? Will they be the soundtrack to every Oscar-winning indie coming-of-age movie? Well, actually, they could. But I don't think they're going to break into the mainstream just yet, and I really think they should. You know, bands like PUP, the Dirty Nil, the Menzingers are punk bands, but have a really rock sound. You know, if you play those for, you know, people on the street, I think they would say, oh, these are, you know, rock bands. You know, maybe some people would say punk, but my point is here that all these bands would be perfect for your crappy local alternative radio station that is playing the same songs over and over and over and over again, but I really don't see that happening just yet. I mean, I really hope it does. You know, the band was on late night. We have seen other bands in the scene get on some of those shows, and it really hasn't transitioned into, you know, more mainstream success. But who knows? I'm really pulling for PUP here. On this album, Morbid Stuff, you know, PUP have, you know, as far as the punk landscape goes, they've cemented themselves as an extremely, extremely consistent band. You know, I really think the reviews for this record are going to be very positive. I can't think of anyone giving this, you know, a horrible review. Otherwise, you're just not a fan of punk or just don't get it, for example. And, you know, in the punk landscape, this album, I'm sure it's going to be on a lot of, you know, best of end of year lists come the end of the year. It'll probably end up on mine. You know, PUP, an extremely consistent band. They've, you know, really solidified that and etched that in a stone with this album. And, you know, PUP, when people talk about PUP, you can now, if you couldn't say it before, you can now 100% definitively say that anytime PUP comes out with a brand new album, you're gonna get, you know, some awesome, angry punk rock jams. What did you think of the brand new PUP record, Morbid Stuff? Let me know down in the comments below. Please like and share the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't. Tell all your friends. And as always, thanks for watching.